can you hear me? Father, can you hear me? Pucka pucka Peter Popper Pecker.
Perfect. Hello, welcome back to the Cosmic League, episode 11. We're back in full effect this week. Got some brand new reviews, some good stuff to talk about. Dan, how are you, my brother?
Not good. This fucking computer took like 20 minutes to get started. So.
A lot of pre-production.
Yeah, that's what happens when you got new equipment and then you're dicking with it constantly.
Right.
You always find a way to have a software conflict so something stops working somewhere. But hey, yeah, we're back, episode 11. I'd like to thank Matey for filling in last week. She did a good job.
Excellent job.
A lot of high ratings for that.
A lot of positive feedback.
But otherwise, yeah, we're back. Plenty to talk about. Nice to have you back.
I am. I'm here in full effect, live in person.
Feeling better?
I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out and helping us during the storm, too.
Oh, anything for you. Anything
36
for you.
hours of power is fun. And quick shout out to Elise and Eric. Congratulations on your brand new baby born
Yay.
on December 10th. Congratulations, guys.
That's awesome.
But yeah, plenty to talk about. Plenty of things we were kind of brewing over. Some of this, some of that. We got a couple new trailers. A couple of big trailers came out.
Yes.
We have, I think we're going to talk a little bit about the Crisis on Infinite Earths, the CW crossover event. That first 3 episodes are out. The next episode, the last 2 parts are on January 14th. So we have a little time, so it's worth talking about.
Let it soak in for a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to soak in about that. And then I want to talk about a little movie, a little ditty by an upcoming actor, Brad Pitt. I like this guy. I think he's going to be a big name.
Got some potential.
He had a little sci-fi ditty called Ad Astra, which I still don't even know what that means. They don't even really explain it in the course of the film. But yeah, so what do you want to do? Oh, and then we have some top 5s, some
best of the year, the 2019. Since it's almost time to wrap it up, I figure we'll give everybody what they should have seen.
I don't expect much in the next couple weeks where we can't hold this list now, opposed to like that. You know,
yeah. Critically speaking,
that
absolutely.
purgatory between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
So,
well, I said we get right into the trailers.
Trailers. I know. I'm ready. I'm not ready. Everything closed on me. Hold on. But yeah, trailers. We got Wonder Woman 1984.
Yep, she's back.
Which I'm impressed by, that they had 1,983 previous films. So I think the 1,984th one will be... actually, I think it looks stupid as fuck, but...
Yeah, you were not impressed.
I was not impressed. Like, it matters what the fuck I care. But the first Wonder Woman was good. It was all right. Like, it was good. The last act, I think, definitely suffered. Definitely, like, a really weak... bad guy that came in. His mustache made him look kind of corny. Kind of reminded me of that Rick and Morty episode where they're in like the Fury Road style, like, apocalyptic Mad Max style, and the one dude has a helmet, and when he finally sees it without the helmet, he has a mustache. He's like, why do I even have a mustache? I wear a helmet, which means I don't care what I look like, but then I feel like I have a mustache, so maybe I do care what I look like. It felt like that kind of thing. But anyways, it got good reviews. People really enjoyed it. Really kind of relied on Gal Gadot and Chris Pine, and then in classic, like, well, we have to redo that, they brought back Chris Pine for this movie. Which is set in 1980s, which is so hot right now.
Yeah, we've talked about that in length. It's just like...
Good year, though, 1984.
80s are fun. You do it right. I mean, Stranger Things has built an empire off of 80s nostalgia. But I just get a little worried that you kind of go back to that too much. And I'm not sure if Wonder Woman is the IP or property that screams out 80s.
You think they would have done a 70s thing to kind of go back to, like, the live action show? With
Linda. Yeah, exactly. With Linda Carter. I mean, that makes sense. Or even 90s, I was saying, is pretty untapped. I know Captain Marvel did it, but they didn't really focus on the culture too much. It was just... It's set in the 90s.
Well, they did the same thing with Dark Phoenix, where it's like supposed to be in the 90s, so you think you're gonna get this Jim Lee like style universe. Like
everyone's jacked.
Yeah, they tease like the Jim Lee costume designs at the end of the previous one, but then there was nothing 90s about it. You're just like, oh, this is just a movie. But I don't know. It looked alright. It looks like they're going for that like Ragnarok. Like you're gonna see like
swinging on lightning.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, like, part of me, I'm like, that's cool, I guess. Like, the little kid in me, like, there better be some explanation because, like, I guess her dad's Zeus or whatever. But, I don't know, in reality, I'm just watching, like, what, she's swinging on lightning?
It was really cool visually. I like Pedro Pascal, the fucking Mandalorian.
Looks weird.
The big question is, how is Steve...
Max Lord, he plays Max Lord.
Yep, how is Steve Trevor still alive? Obviously, the huge question.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of crystal MacGuffin to, give wishes to the characters, so she'll wish that she had Trevor back, and then Kristen Wiig will somehow wish she was an actual cheetah, which is weird. I don't know, Max Lord's probably praying, wishing for power. I don't know. I wasn't too excited by it. My biggest issue is that it looks kind of campy. It looks campier than the first one, which was like a World War I film, and then we have all this like campy they're really narrowing in on like her fight scenes being like these slow mo like twirly, like she twirls a lot, and then
very twirly.
Yeah, she's very twirly, and then it's like there's a mall scene because it's the 80s, so you gotta have a mall,
right?
So it's like, I don't know. And well, the funniest part is you see her in like her Kingdom Come outfit at the end.
Yes.
Where she's like basically like a gold giant eagle.
Yeah.
Which again just confuses me because the whole point is Wonder Woman, depending on which continuity you listen to or read, is like, or watch, is that she has those colors of the red, white, and blue and the stars and all that stuff because it was kind of like an honorary thing when she came to America. Like, you're going to honor them by wearing like a normal Amazon clothing, but
with our colors.
With like American colors.
Right.
But in the first movie, she goes to England, doesn't even go to America.
Right.
So, again, the eagle thing, which is supposed to be more American imagery, symbolism. So, I don't know. You see her in the big golden eagle outfit at the end, which is like, I don't know why she needs it, who's she fighting, that it requires that kind of thing, but who knows? Who cares?
You know, you said campy, but I almost wish if you're going to do it like this, camp it up even more. Like you said, the comparisons to like Ragnarok or something. Like, just go full like 80s metal. Just go for it if you're gonna.
If you want like heavy metal style, like the old animated movie.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Don't half-ass it.
Yeah, that would definitely be better. But
yeah, I think so.
I don't know. We'll see. 1984, which is that like Xbox thing. Like, we're not gonna just call it 2 or 3. It's like we have 84. To come up with a new number every time.
We'll see.
But we also got the Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yes.
Which I was just funny. I was just seeing my friend in the hospital with his kid, and he was like, "What'd you think?" He's like, "Fucking stupid." But I was like, I don't know. Like, they don't show you much, and you know that the original, most of the original actors are coming back, like Sigourney Weaver and like all these characters. So there's definitely going to be like actual parts with actual original Ghostbusters, but they kind of did that thing where they're like, we're going to start it. We're going to start showing it off by like the new crew, like, or if there even is a crew, like, you know, the kids.
Right. The new squad.
Which you see, I saw some criticism that it's like too much like Stranger Things because you got that
Finn Wolfhard.
Wolfhard in it. So I'm like, yeah, but then, you know, you have to remember too, Stranger Things is kind of a copy of all 80s movies, so
absolutely
they stole from it,
and
then to have them kind of steal it back is in that same way that like when like Tomb Raider came out, they're like, it stole it from Uncharted. It's like, no, Uncharted stole it from the old Tomb Raider. Like, you know, they just kind of steal off each other back and forth. Or like the new Spider-Man game where they're like, this has the same fight system as Arkham Knight. I'm like, no, Arkham Knight has the same fight system as Spider-Man 2. You know, like it just kind of feeds off itself. But I was kind of excited. It looks cool. It looks like it's Egon's grandson taking over like his stuff, his property. You see like his lab, you see like the spore collection. He talks about how he collects spores and molds in his free time. Seems like there's something under the ground. There's like a mine shaft area, and my theory is that they stored all the ghosts there and the containment unit is failing
and they're leaking out
because you remember in the first one when they shut down the power grid to the containment. And then it's like it exploded and they all came out. And I think that's what they're feeling like the waves, because you can definitely see like they're chasing Slimer in the trailer, and then you see like the Gozer dog hand for like a second. So you're definitely going to see a lot of callbacks.
I think it'll be cool. I mean, the cast looks great.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, it looks like the thing I kept thinking back to is that it's like the hot words right now, like soft reboot. Yeah. It reminds me of like exactly like a stereotypical soft reboot. Like, here's this new cast. You're going to see some old people. So it's not a complete reboot, but, you know, in every sense of the word, it looks like a soft reboot. I'm here for it though. I mean, we're in.
Well, the problem is because whenever you start a movie, like when you come back to a movie franchise, especially like 30 years later, you know, like it was the first one in the 1980s, and then the second one was early 90s, or I don't know. I don't remember how far afterwards it was. A few years later. I don't even know. I'm curious if it actually will occupy in the same space as Ghostbusters 2, which I haven't seen anything acknowledge that Ghostbusters 2 existed in this universe, that it might just be a sequel to the first one. Like when Paul Rudd's like, oh, no, yeah, didn't you see, remember in the 80s? Like, they're not talking about the later thing with the painting and the slime and stuff. So, and there was some discussion when that came out that it wasn't, like, held up as well, or that the creators and actors didn't like it as much as the first one. That's why they never came back to do a third one, even though the unofficial third one is the game, which was a really awesome game, which got remastered recently, so that's worth a play. But, yeah, when you come back to it, you got to, like, start it up. They always want to start it up for the next trilogy. So new kids, you got kids in there, which I'm not against. So
yeah, no, that's exactly what they're doing. They're hoping they're making 3 of these, you know.
Yeah, everyone's trying to do a trilogy.
Absolutely.
But no, it's alright. I'm looking forward to it. It's called Afterlife, which I think is not the catchiest title. And I see a lot of people joking that it's called Afterlife because it's in continuation to the last one killed the franchise, so this one's bringing it back. So it's kind of like, well, they always wanted to kind of go into the afterlife. That was always like a thing that the original writers wanted to kind of
get into.
Which is funny because Dan Aykroyd, the whole Ghostbuster idea was based on the fact that Dan Aykroyd's family were really into like paranormal occult stuff, and they had a house. They had like an old house that they lived in, and like his dad like ghost hunted and stuff like that. And that's so you see like the same kind of like mansion that he lived in. The old house is kind of like in this. So there's a lot of callbacks to that. So the whole original thing was based on his dad's work and the work he kind of got involved in. And if you hear him, like he was on Joe Rogan not too long ago, he was talking about like the few UFO sightings he's had. He says he's seen the Men in Black come and kind of like intimidate him. So he's been all in on this.
He's got the tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, he's definitely I believe him, of course.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, they're kind of, it's all like a go back to that whole form. So I'm good. I'm excited. I like it. The kids look, they look, cool. They're not overly like, oh, aren't we so sassy?
Yeah.
They're just like doing weird.
No, the cast looks good.
And they don't show you too much. They haven't shown us anything yet.
Which I like. Because I'm a big fan of not showing a lot.
I have a feeling everything they're showing us is like the first half of the movie or first third. And then when everything starts going off, then the original Ghostbusters are going to show back up. And you're like, what's going on here?
And I want to be surprised by that.
Yeah.
So keep it like that, please.
No, it's good. It's good to have those kind of surprises.
Absolutely.
So now I'm looking forward to that. That's in the summer, right?
Yes.
The summer of 2020.
Yes. Summer blockbuster.
2020.
Right around the
corner.
corner.
We're in the future, buddy.
Yeah.
It's coming up. End of a decade, too.
A dynasty.
Maybe we could do like a top 10 of the...
We should.
Of the decade.
Of the 2010s. I like that. That sounds like a good episode.
So are you caught up on CW Crisis on Infinite Earths?
I am.
Yeah?
I'm caught up, and this is as someone as we've published. Yeah, we've gone into detail about how I've given up on these shows, the Arrowverse.
It's hard to keep up on all of them. I mentioned too how I gave up on a few of them, but keeping up on the Arrow and the Flash, and there were some I started, like I like Black Lightning. I got through most of the first season. Then I had a problem where like my TiVo stopped recording it, and then I was like, all right, then I
lost
finally
track, and it's like,
I tried to catch up on the streaming, but then Hulu only had X amount of episodes, so I missed a couple episodes. I tried to get back into it, but just with the wealth of shows,
right.
But what do you think? There's 3 episodes out. There's 2 more to go. We got a little bit of break. We got a month in between.
So coming in from my perspective, where you don't watch these shows anymore, God, it was refreshing to come in and see some of the worst acting on television. I mean, John Cryer as Lex Luthor.
Don't you talk shit, because in Kevin Smith's Crisis Aftermath, like in his like fake Talking Dead show, he said it was the best version, a live action version of the Lex Luthor.
He's horrendous. It's not even laughably bad. Like when someone's like overacting and they're just hamming it up, it's like he's trying to be bad. Like he's just like, I mean, mailing it in is not even the word. He's terrible. Ruby Rose is so bad she makes Melissa Benoit look like Robert De Niro or like fucking, I don't know, the best actor ever. And no one's a great actor here. We're talking about a bunch of people who are like H&M models.
You're talking about Stephen Amell's like constant face of like slight
confusion. Stephen Amell might be the best one on there. I mean, they're all terrible. Brendan Routh looks like he's, fucking the godfather of acting compared to these people.
So you're not a fan of the acting.
Tyler Hoechlin is terrible, the Superman. And then the other thing was, as someone who hasn't been watching these shows, to come in and be excited, the whole reason they wrote me in was these cameos. And cameos is overstating it. I mean, the Titans showed up. Jason Todd and Hawk showed up for 2 seconds.
It was literally just like a clip, which is funny because if you're caught up on Titans, you know that Todd's not even Robin right now.
No, he's not.
And then you just see him as in the Robin
it's
outfit.
Glorified cameos, if you could even call it that.
They couldn't find a shot of them at least looking up at the sky.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was just extra footage shot, like B-roll from Titans, because it's like...
Not impressed, so you're not impressed. What do you think about the plot?
Terrible. The worst part to me, though, is if you're going to bring back these people, right? Specifically Kevin Conroy and, what's his name? From Smallville. Right?
Welling.
Yeah, Tom Welling. So you're going to bring these two back, right? Which was huge, which was half the draw. People were really excited about that.
Yeah, that was definitely their like
one of the drawing points,
ad
right?
Campaign was like, there's all these people are going to be in it.
You bring these two back. So Kevin Conroy gets to be Batman for the first time in live action after being the animated voice that everyone loves, and gets to play the worst, most shittiest, fucked up version of Bruce Wayne ever, and dies on screen after being Bruce Wayne for 5 minutes. and he's just a fucking piece of shit Bruce Wayne.
All right, so we should definitely say if you haven't watched it, there's gonna be spoilers.
Heavy spoilers. Heavy spoilers.
Yeah, Conroy
gets to be piece of shit Bruce Wayne.
All the cameos, even the plot, is so quickly done that you would think you were watching like a high school play. Like it's like Ruby Rose, and they're trying to find the Paragons, which are like, I guess, they're all the superheroes of the multiverse, which they include like Tim Burton's Batman and Titans, and they include the Donner style Superman movies with Brendan Routh, like where he kind of like rebooted it with Superman Returns.
Yep.
Out of all of them, they're like, these are the best guys in the business.
In the universe.
And of course, 7 of them or 5 of them are in Earth 1. So it's like Ruby Rose, Supergirl, you got Brandon Routh, Superman.
Kingdom Come Superman.
Martian Manhunter, who hasn't once turned into a Martian so far in 3 episodes.
They spent all their CGI effects on the Superman fight.
Yeah, which was and then they picked some random dude, Dr. Chow or something.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is.
And I think Ralph's Superman was supposed to be one as well, the Paragon.
Was it?
Yeah, until Lex,
Lex
changed
switched
fate
it,
with his book. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the book, that whole book, MacGuffin.
Good God.
That was pretty weak the last time we saw it in last year's crossover. And then, well, okay, like the Ruby Rose thing. Like, so Ruby Rose, she's
laughably bad.
She's one of them. She's the Bat of the Future. Which you're like, why can't there be Terry McGinnis like Bat?
Right. Batman Beyond is screaming at you. It's like staring you in the face, and they're like, "No, Ruby Rose."
Which is funny because in the Flash last season, where their daughter from the future, XS. Was around. She was saying things like shui and stuff, which was like all
the
lingo from Batman Beyond, which was like makes sense because that'd be the same time period she was from in the future. But yeah, no. So no Batman Beyond. And then they go and they confront this Kevin Conroy version of Bruce Wayne. Of course, again, no Batman in a Batman suit.
No.
And he's like a total dick, and he's like
a pile of shit.
He's like an old evil Bruce Wayne who has like a hot black guy with no like shirt. Like he has like
it's the CW. They had to have an ab shot.
Like I said, I remember I watched the first episode of Batwoman, and that guy's in it. He plays like a young version of Lucius Fox, kind of. I think it's supposed to be like.
I think it's his family, right? Yeah.
It's like his kid or his nephew or something like that. But he answers the door and he's like not shirtless, but he has like an open dress shirt, so it's like just abs, and you're just like, what is Bruce Wayne doing in here? That whole Boy Wonder thing. And so they go in there and they confront him, and he's a total dick, and then like. Which is awesome because he punches Supergirl like I hate you, and he like punches Supergirl. Fuck aliens. He's kind of like a weird version of like the Dark Knight Returns like comic book version.
Yeah, like the Ben Affleck Batman vs Superman.
Yeah,
but to the extreme.
Yeah, he's a little much. He's wearing like a suit because he got all messed up, I guess, when he fought Superman, but he still killed him. So he punches Supergirl, and then he goes to punch her again. Well, he punched Supergirl across the room. He has kryptonite, I guess, had a part to do with it. But then he goes to swing again, and Batwoman or Ruby Rose grabs his hand, like stops his hand. Does like a punch or a kick or whatever, and he falls into like electrodes. That's something out of like the Adam West Batman.
Yeah, just dies.
And like just into dead.
The best part is his parting words. Instead of being like, I was wrong, like be good, he's like, there's no fucking hope. Nothing matters. I love that was terrible. His speech too about killing people. He's like, you kill one person, the next thing you know, you killed 30. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you go down the rabbit hole. It was just can't once you pop, you can't have one.
Like
right? You gotta have the whole bag. So he's just a mass murdering Batman. So they do him filthy, right? He just gets done dirty. Finally, Batman, he's a piece of shit.
So they did Titans dirty. You see him for like a second. Yeah. They do Batman 89, which I do like the years. The universe is named after the years.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like
Lucifer's in Earth 666.
Yeah,
we get it.
And then he kind of pops up. Like he doesn't give a shit that the universes are ending. He's like, I'm just having fun, which I'm not a big... I'm not up on that show. Like I started watching it like every other show.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's completely out of continuity.
But it's like... I think he at least evolves as a character.
Yeah, like he cares now.
And then the way
he's got 2 girls on his side, doesn't give a fuck about anything.
But they're playing him off like it's the first episode of Lucifer.
Yeah, he's just like a piece of shit.
I'm just the devil. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And so you did that. Then they did Batman 89 universe where they had the dude from the original.
Yes, the reporter.
The
it's
reporter
like,
guy.
Batman. Who could he be?
Yeah, and then he dies, and he's like, oh, and then they do Burt Ward for a split second walking his dog.
Holy
and he's like,
crimson sky of death or something like that.
Yeah, he's dead. They kill everybody. And then they're like, there's an infinite number of universes, but in the course of the show, you're like, what is it, like 30?
Here's my thing, too. All right, real quick. Tom Welling, they do dirty as well. They're just like, hey, you get to be Superman. I know in Smallville we never got to see you. You gave up your powers. You're not even Superman anymore.
Yeah, you know,
Nice.
I didn't really watch Smallville. I couldn't get into it. I tried a couple times over the years. I didn't catch it like when it came on, so I feel like I kind of missed the boat on it. But I was reading a lot of comments. Like any of these things, when I see like articles, I try to gauge the community by just reading what people respond to.
See what the temperature's like.
And most people weren't happy with it.
How could you be?
A lot of people were trying to say that like, well, he said he would never actually be Superman, so he wasn't going to come back as Superman.
Why the fuck you didn't bring him on?
He didn't want to don the cape again, so because he only did it for a split second at the end of the Smallville run. So, but I don't know. He, he's just doing his normal crap where he's just kind of not Superman, and Lex Luthor's disappointed. He's just like, what the hell?
I love that this Lex is so evil that you would think we've seen it in comics where Lex steps up because the world's gonna end, and he's like, listen, I fucking hate Superman, but I want to be able to torment him. Like, I gotta. This one's like, I don't care. I'll kill Superman even if it means I never live. Like, I don't care. I'm my own, peril. But the other thing is, and I haven't been watching it all. But what is the math here behind transporting billions of people to another Earth and just like doubling the world's population, just like dropping them on there?
I thought that was funny.
Also, their calculation of Stephen Amell staying and fighting another 10 seconds. Equated to about 1 billion people being saved.
Yeah, it saved like an extra couple minutes. It took everyone. Okay, so recap real quick. The plot of the show is the crisis. The crisis is this event where this guy called the Anti-Monitor, who's the opposite of the kind of maybe malevolent character, the Monitor, who's kind of gathering all these heroes. You see him for the first time last year in a crossover. Shows up, tells them all this thing's coming. Mainly the Flash and Arrow have been prepping for it all season. No one else was told, so they're all kind of caught off guard. And so this crisis is basically like there's this wave of antimatter washing through all the different parallel universes and timelines, killing each Earth. They try to get these group of heroes together to stop it. They do a shit job. And then so they get the heroes together and they're told they need like 7 specific heroes. They go to find them. So that gives them like an opportunity to go and do that like end game thing where they're like,
we need you,
jumping around different worlds to get whatever they need, which is just people.
That's not me anymore.
Yeah, and so that's where you get all your cameos, and then it kind of comes together mainly at first on Earth 2 or no Earth 30 or whatever Supergirl's universe is. Where that goes to shit real fast. There's like these towers that come up and they're like, oh, you put these towers here millions of years ago to stop this wave, which do nothing because no one checked on them for millions of years, so they're all shitty. And
then the Dementors come.
Yeah, then the Dementors, who are just basically like reskins of like the in the Flash. There was like the Death. Like,
yes.
They had these like these Wraith Dementor looking creatures.
The black, what's his name?
Like the Black Flash.
Yeah. That was like,
to protect the timeline. So you see all these reused CG characters.
Yep.
And so they're fighting them, and then they decide that they're just going to evacuate the planet.
Which takes 10 minutes.
Which they're going hard.
Millions of people.
They're literally like, where are we going to get ships? And then like Martian Manhunter is like, well, every alien came on a ship. Which I'm like, well, I thought a lot of them came on a prison in the first season, but whatever. So he's like, I just hope they'll do the right thing. So if you live in a rural area, you're fucked because
you just have to live in a major metropolis area.
I imagine the ships are just in cities, so they're like to get the biggest yield. So, and then they get Lena Luthor, who's like the stepsister of Lex Luthor, who's a total bitch at this point in the show because she found out that her friend is actually Supergirl and she's really mad about it. And I checked out on that show, so I was like, whatever. She's still mad about that. They build like basically a Stargate to get them to a different universe. So they're fighting. They're trying to stop the Dementors from, because the tower is stopping the wave.
Right.
And so the superheroes have a really lazy fight where they're all standing there. And then the Monitor shows up like, all right, we got to get out. This is done. And then, of course, Oliver's like, no, we got to stay. We got to protect this planet as long as we can. Which really just meant him fighting like 20 Dementors. Which
to the death.
Yeah, whatever. So, which was like well done. I like the idea that Oliver kind of like dies defending, like just being like, and then like he loses like runs out of arrows and he just starts going fist. Which is like, it's why arrows are a bad idea, because you only have X amount of
it's hard with
shots.
A cosmic threat when you have, like, street-level heroes. That's always rough.
Yeah, give him, like, some kind of cosmic bow and arrow where you can shoot infinite arrows, like Link or something.
But did they go into the plan? Like, what is the plan to drop these, like, 3 billion people onto a whole other planet full of billions of people?
Yeah, so they take them to Earth 1. So they're only able to get 3 billion people off of Earth 30 or whatever.
1 billion of that because Oliver fought another 10 seconds.
Yeah, because Oliver's, I don't know.
The Monitor did the math real quick. It was like 10 seconds was approximately 1 billion people.
Which I don't know what he was actually fighting off that actually led to more time, but whatever. So they get 3 billion people.
The waves there.
And yeah, like he's not stopping the
Right.
wave by fighting, but
Right.
so Earth 1 just gets an influx of 3 billion people, which I'm
Right.
sure they're excited for.
No, definitely. I mean, you see Manhattan,
But
you could
it's that-
easily just drop 3 billion. You know,
yeah.
another million
And duplicates too. We're not even talking like 3 billion.
So
new,
my clone showed up today.
Yeah, like 3 billion new
Weird.
people. These are 3 billion alternate people
Versions
from
of
a different
yourself,
universe. So
yeah.
you could have had like your whole family could be on there, like an alternate.
Fucking
version
Social Security
that are
office is having a
fascist.
fit.
Yeah, Social
like-
Security numbers are a problem. You gotta get a little like comment, so it's kind of like a little end game thing.
-2.
But nothing meant anything because by the end of the 3rd episode, they all get fucked. Like the waves hit all the Earths. You get left with whoever is on Wave Rider 2 because Wave Rider 1 is like joking that they don't want to be in a crossover event, and which is funny because they got Captain Cold doing like
Yeah,
the
the
voice
voice
computer.
work. Yeah.
And then they all get kind of teleported to the Vanishing Point, which is a thing from Legends of Tomorrow.
It's like a timeless.
Yeah, it's like some point in the kind of like an infinite future outside of time where like the time, not lords, but like time police people used to live, and until they destroyed them, and that's where Captain Cold got killed. That was like all kind of like the first season of Legends. Or whatever. But yeah, but then you find out Lex Luthor used the book to rewrite who the Paragons were, so he
So that means we get more Lex.
So he crossed out
Yes.
Superman and put himself in it. So which is funny because it takes a minute, like
Yeah,
Superman's like, oh, we're here, and then he just kind of
Oh!
dissolves,
Yeah.
and then Lex
Ow!
Luthor just pops up, and go, oh, that worked. And
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, okay.
There was a point while I was watching and I was kind of doing stuff in the background because I kind of like mentally checked out. It was just so bad. And the volume was low. My kid's like screaming in the background and stuff. And I'm like, and I'm watching it. And have you ever been flipping through the channels and like a telenovelas on or like Bollywood shows on? And it's like ridiculous. And you don't know what they're saying, but the plot looks insane, right? And you're just like, what the fuck is going on
Yeah,
here?
sure.
I'm watching that and I'm like, without the volume and watching what's going on, like other people must be like, Americans are fucking nuts. If you watch that show, you gotta be like,
It's like
these people are psychopaths.
have you watched like that show on Netflix, The Toys That Made Us? There's a new
Yes.
one, The Movies Made Us. The one about the Power Rangers where they're talking about how like Stan Lee and this woman who's in charge of some marketing TV department, they like tried to get Power Rangers on TV and then like nothing, they failed because everyone was like, what the hell is this?
What
and then
is this?
15 years later, Saban grabbed
He's
it
like,
and then
yep.
did the same thing, hooked up with the same chick that was running a different, like now she ran Fox Kids or something like that. And they're like, oh, she's like, oh yeah, I tried doing that 10 years ago. And then trying to sell this show where they're cutting up Japanese
footage,
Sentai footage to whatever. It's kind of like that where you're just looking at like, what's happening?
Culturally, it doesn't make any sense. But that's how I picture people looking at that show, being like, what are Americans doing?
Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying it because it's classic CW crap. It's kind of like, it's like that, like there was that high school that did an Alien play for like a,
Yes.
like a high school play, and everyone got into
Salute
it
to
because
them.
it was a
That's
high school
awesome.
play.
Yeah,
That's what this
that's
feels like. It's
amazing.
like the Kevin Smith Aftermath, the Talking Dead
Yeah,
style show.
post-
It's like he's like, this is the greatest thing. I never thought I'd see all these characters. I'm like, yeah, it's cool in like a Saturday morning kind of way, like in the old '90s X-Men when you saw Spider-Man, where you're like, this is cool, but in reality, it's like, no, this is dumb as shit.
It's bad. It's really bad, and it sucks because I'm in the bag for it. Like this is exactly what I want.
They just don't have the budget. Even like when
budgetary problems, but it's also story.
when
'Cause
the-
you could fight around the budget.
when the Barry Allen of Earth 90 or whatever dies, like, because the whole time in Flash this season, he's told that the Flash must die to save all these Earths, and then basically this plot boils down to it's a different Flash that dies. It's
His
the guy.
dad. version.
Well, it's the guy who plays his dad. It's the guy
Yeah.
from the original 1990
Yes,
version of the TV
yes.
show where I think I can't
with his fucking velour flash suit.
I loved it,
that has
though.
built
So pretty.
built-in abs.
Dude, it was so pretty, the velour on it. I loved it. It looked so much nicer than like the speedy version. But whatever. That's just me because I like the more classic.
You
Like
like the
superhero
vintage.
costumes should look weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he dies. But when he dies, even that CG was like really cheap compared to like the scene that you keep seeing in the Flash, because he does like a Doctor Strange thing where he looks into the future and
Yep.
sees like every infinite possible
Possibility,
future, which
yeah.
didn't mean shit because even the monitor's like, oh, that's not how things are supposed to happen.
It's very fluid right now, Barry.
Yeah, things are just changing every which way, and like even when he dies, it just kind of happens. I mean, it was a good send off for that character. They do, you know, the thing is, especially you can see in Aftermath when they're talking to the showrunner, like
Yeah.
the guy that writes all this stuff, is like they're so proud of themselves, but it's like you shouldn't be that proud of yourself for this. But like,
I'm telling you, stepping into it again, it's fucking terrible. I mean, it's not even like there's nothing good to say about it, you know. Speaking of which, they showed the trailer for Stargirl afterwards.
yeah, you were already joking before we started that you weren't attuned to that, which is funny because on Aftermath they brought on Jeff Johns, who that's like,
I didn't stick around for that.
which was his
Fucking G off.
yeah. Well, he had nothing to say. You could tell the dude's not a TV guy. He was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, like, what's your relation to Power Girl or Stargirl? And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, it was my first job. It was the first superhero I created. I'm a big fan.
Thanks.
And they're like, how did you feel making it into a TV show? He's like, yeah, it was pretty cool. And they're like, how did you cast? Like, how did you know who it was? He's like, well, they sent a bunch of tapes. And then I saw one tape and I was like, I like this one.
I liked it.
And then he's like, I like this one. And we're picking her. And then that was it. And then everyone's like, oh, all right, get off the show. You know, where it's like, you don't have to say. But yeah, I don't know. That to me, it was like when you sent me that first teaser and they're like, different. Like, these are different heroes. I'm like, what? A bunch of fucking ethnically diverse teenagers? Every fucking superhero show is a group of ethnically diverse teenagers. I grew up with Power Rangers, all right? I know what it looks like when you got like an Asian and African American, a white, a Native American, and an Indian, like yeah,
it's nothing new, but
as long as the leader is white,
of course,
Stargirl is still a blonde, white, you know, classic American.
The thing that's weird to me is I wonder if they knew ahead of time the situation, because now it looks like it's going to premiere like a day early on the DC app and then go to CW.
It was supposed to be a DC Universe
exclusive
app. Yeah, exclusive,
first.
Just like Titans or the Harley Quinn animated.
But I have a feeling they knew, because I mean it looks shot
it's
and
collapsing.
Everything. Oh, it's completely imploding, and they keep telling us like, no, it's fine, everything's fine. The house is burning, but they're just like, yeah, no, it's good.
If you thought about getting DC app, don't get it.
No, because it'll be on HBO Max, and they're just distributing all their media everywhere.
Yeah, just gotta wait enough time, and then it'll be all right.
But that show looks specifically made for like Titans. You'd have to do a little of patchwork. I mean, it's just too dark. It curses way too much. They're fucking.
Can't be that hard because I watch. Rick and Morty comes on TV. I watch it uncensored on Vudu, like we talked about before. But
I don't think CW wouldn't have sex scenes and stuff. Like, you'd have to tame it a little bit.
Yeah, but they don't even do that much of that in Titans or any of those other shows. So you can tell they're just gonna have to like do a little polish.
Oh yeah, no, you have to tweak a little bit. But this Stargirl looks like the mold, the cookie cutter. Like, they literally just popped it out of the easy bake oven from the Arrowverse. So
I can care less. I mean, you got.
It looks bad.
I think Joe McHale plays the original guy.
And Luke Wilson is her dad.
Yeah, Luke Wilson. So they got a couple actors, like, they're trying. But the funny part is, like, they did that with, like, The Runaways on Hulu.
Yeah.
You know, they did that with, like, The Gifted, that X-Men show. Like, they've done this. Like, even Cloak and Dagger, they've done this shit.
Right, the teeny angst, I don't look...
I'm not a teenager anymore, so I don't care that much.
No, it does. Well, also, like we've said a million times, just make quality shit. I could care less,
Well, so you're looking forward to the part 3 and 4? Or 4 and 5?
Oh, man, yeah. You know what's really good is when you have something that shitty and you draw it over 3 days, and then you say, wait a minute, let it marinate for a month. We'll come back in January and we'll finish this fucking shit up. No, I don't even know if I'll tune in, to be honest. I'm so worn out. Bitching out.
It's just all the dumb shit we watch.
Oh my god!
I gotta watch at least the ending. No, I watch CW shows. I'm not gonna lie. I watch them. I'll watch the ending because I'm excited for the ending. Because I'm convinced they're gonna introduce Green Lantern somehow. So.
Well, that would be the one caveat that would make me go, all right.
There's a Green Lantern live action show coming out on HBO Max.
And the rumor is maybe Diggle gets his ring.
Well, the rumor is that it's part of the CW universe. So to me, I'm like, the only reason why they would even bother doing that is that they're gonna bring some element from the show.
Otherwise, why?
And they've been trying to say Diggle, is like a version of Jon Stewart,
right?
Because like I think at one point you find out that his like stepdad's last name is Stewart too. So like there's like the elements in there, and they've been toying with like Hal Jordan and Ferris airfields for a while.
Yes.
And, Arrow and.
But I'll tell you, one thing that couldn't make me even less excited for the Green Lantern show would be a major connection to the Arrowverse. Take the wind right out of my sails.
Like Black Lightning, where it's like just in a different alternate universe and doesn't have too much to do with it. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Something to look forward to.
I don't know.
Let us know what your thoughts are on something.
The show of the year.
Mail in letters.
Yeah, mail it in.
We'll leave the mail anymore.
We'll leave the PO box in the description.
Yeah, we'll put a PO box in the description. You guys can mail all your fan letters too. All right. Well, okay. Enough of that.
Yeah, let's move on to some positive.
I want to bitch, but no, I don't have anything positive to talk about. No.
Let's just bitch.
Damn it. I tried to be positive last week when you weren't here. No, I want to talk about a movie which I didn't see in theaters. Like my one friend was trying to like bother me. He's like, let's go see it. I'm like, I have so much other shit to do. A little movie called Astra. Doom, doom, doom. I got to put in like some...
The drop there.
Some Christopher Nolan horns with Brad Pitt. And... I don't want to make this into a big elaborate thing, but I will say that this movie was fucking stupid. And It was so bad, dude. Like, it was so fucking intolerable that, like, I felt mad that I didn't watch this. I watched that instead of, like, the new Rambo. Yeah. Like, I could have bought the new Rambo. And at least that's Stallone.
Right.
You know, like,
you know what you're getting into with that one.
Yeah, at least that's something. But this movie hurt my mind on somebody else. It hurt it hurt my feelings on writing.
Right.
And it hurt my feelings on the science. And it's like, I don't ask for a lot. Like, I'm enjoying the crossover event. Like, whatever. Right. I don't care. Antimatter waves, whatever. It's a MacGuffin. Just like wormholes or black holes or anything else. Like, even Interstellar. Like, I could bitch about Interstellar and be like, I don't understand why they can't save the Earth, but they have the ability to terraform a planet on the other side of the universe. Like, what? If you can, there's still air on the Earth. Like,
it's unsalvageable, Dan. You gotta, we gotta terraform.
Yeah, and Anne Hathaway is on like a rock. I'm like, no, this is good. Let's start mankind here. It's like there's still corn on Earth. Like, what the fuck?
It's too far gone.
Yeah, and love being more powerful than gravity waves and whatever. So. Anyway, so Ad Astra is a movie with Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones, Liv Tyler, Donald Sutherland.
Good cast.
Yeah, there's a few winners in there. What the fuck? Niga? I don't know. The girl that plays Tulip in Preacher.
With the short hair. Yes.
She's in it for a minute. No one's really in it besides a bunch of videos of Tommy Lee Jones because Brad Pitt is basically he plays the son of this like famous astronaut Tommy Lee Jones, who went on this mission to Neptune because bad writing and bad writing brought him up to Neptune and he disappeared. So it's like he's been gone for like 30 years. And then basically the government's like, oh, hey, buddy, we need you to go to Mars to get on this radio. Try to talk to your dad. He might be alive because what's happening is the engine on this ship they sent to Neptune, on Tommy Lee Jones' ship, is some sort of insane antimatter reactor, like some Star Trek shit.
Right.
And it's like rotting or I don't know, it's failing wherever it is. So that it's all coming from Neptune. So they know it got there. And it's creating these like pulse waves. It's creating like these surges. They kept using the word surge, which I'm not, after Surge Soda, I'm not like super like impressed by the word surge. Like there's a surge of thirst killer.
I loved Surge.
Thirst quencher.
Loved Surge.
Yeah, Surge was good. So there's these surges that are hitting the Earth, and then the science they use to explain any of this, which again, I'm not asking a lot, but it's so fucking dumb. Just real quick, they try to say that this engine is an antimatter reactor, which A is pretty impressive for any timeline that humans have that. You know, like Star Trek has it, but even in Star Trek, they have to have these things called dilithium crystals. Like they have a MacGuffin to make it. In this, there's no MacGuffin. They just have this engine.
It's like we figured it out.
Yeah, we got this thing, but the problem is it's breaking and it's creating cosmic waves, which again, no, that would not create cosmic waves. Cosmic waves come from the space, the cosmos. That's why they're called cosmic waves. Usually gamma. It's usually from stars and pulsars and shit. This thing's creating these waves. It's fucking everything up. And the waves are getting more intense the farther from the origin point. Like it's like reinforcing itself, which again makes no sense that... Because the closer it gets to it, the least... Like the weaker the surges are. Right. Which are like, that's fucking stupid. So that doesn't make any sense. And then they're like, all right... Anyway, so we need to send you because we got to get you to Mars because Mars has a base where there's a radio that's not hurt by these surges. And you got to call your dad and tell him, you know, at least try to make contact. Because if he gets it or responds to it, then we can triangulate him and nuke the fucker. Which is crazy to me. I'm like, so there's an antimatter reactor that's like rotting somewhere and it's going to kill. And then they said it's going to cause a chain reaction that's going to destroy the solar system, which I'm like, what? That's insane. You know how expensive it is? It's like $10 billion to produce like one proton of antimatter. Like it's so hard to do. But whatever. Let's say they can do it. And they're going to nuke it. Like nuking is the best idea. Like,
space nuke.
Yeah, let's just nuke this problem that was going to, you know, cascade and destroy everything in the solar system. And the whole point of the mission to Neptune was that because Earth's running out of resources and everyone's fighting because everyone's mad, Twitter, I don't know, who knows, is like they're just going to go try to find aliens and ask for help. So it's the equivalent of like, I don't know how to change my tire, so I'm just going to sit on the side of the road and hope someone comes by and shows me how to do it. So, and then they're like, well, we got to do it on Neptune because it's out of the heliosphere, which is kind of like the magnetic bubble around the solar system from the sun, which isn't true either. The heliosphere goes really far, so far that like it took 30, 40 years for probes to like finally get past
to the end.
Voyager 1 and 2. So that makes no sense. All right, already I'm like, none of this makes sense. So it's kind of like a travel movie where it's about Brad Pitt's like mind state and like his because his dad left and it's like the mental problems with his dad. He keeps like
daddy issues.
Like every 10 minutes he has to like talk into a computer and give it him his like his mental thoughts, and the computer is like you're either approved or disapproved. Like either you're like, oh, you're crazy, you can't go, or it's like, all right, you're fine, you're good to go. And whatever. So the first thing they do is like, all right, you gotta go to the moon and catch a ride to Mars. So he goes to the moon and they're like, you gotta take a commercial flight. And which is funny because he's walking through an airport, so you're like, all right, this is the future. Space flight's not a problem. Getting to the moon's not a problem. And then you see him. He goes to like gate 44 or 45 or something like that. Goes to the moon. But the funny part is they do like an outside exterior shot, and there's a rocket. And there's only one rocket pad. There's one rocket pad, one fucking rocket on it.
But all these terminals.
And I'm like, it's gate 44? Yeah. What's every other gate? Cars?
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any sense. And then everything they show in the movie is like a old like 70s Saturn V style like multi-section rocket. So like those rockets that like when you see it go off,
right, and
then a piece of it falls off, and then that flies a little longer than another piece. So it's called a multi-stage. So every rocket he's on in the movie is multi-stage, which to me seems like a really
step backwards.
A step backwards, but just a waste. Especially when they start off the movie by saying the Earth's running out of resources, and then they're just dropping pieces of rockets everywhere in this movie, which I'm like, what the that's fucking stupid. And then, which is crazy, because when they get to the moon, there's a fucking Applebee's, and I'm like, wait, there's an Applebee's on the moon? Like, how much is it to go to the moon to eat at Applebee's?
Just to have,
how much is it to get
lunch.
Food shipped to an Applebee's? Because, like I said, they're using classic style rockets, which is like something like 10 or 50 grand per pound. So that doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, he can't go from the same airport he landed in, so he has to go to a different airport to like go to Mars. All right, fine, whatever. That's like the Mars airport. And they're driving there on like moon buggies, like classic like Apollo style looking moon cars.
Right.
And they get attacked by pirates.
Space pirates.
Moon pirates.
Right.
Which are just dudes on different moon buggies, which look like they're from the 1960s. To the point where there's a AAA sticker on Brad Pitt's like car, like on the bumper, and I'm like, what is it? What? Like, is AAA gonna come to the moon to change your fucking tire?
They got some issues.
And the whole thing is like they're like, oh, there's pirates because everyone's running out of resources. They just keep saying that. And I'm like, he's just driving to a different airport.
Right.
There's nothing on the car. They're not transporting gold or money or water or any other valuable resource.
Give us your buggy.
Yeah, not even. They're just shooting at him. And they all have these weird space guns, which kind of look dumb. And then, whatever, they have this stupid fight where they're just shooting at each other and they crash and the shit. And then whenever Brad Pitt gets to the Mars airport, then he gets on a ship there, and then he gets put on with like a crew. So he gets a little crew, like 4 dudes, which is funny because they're acting like they've never been in space before. Like they're squirting water. I'm like, oh my god, it floats. And you're like, isn't space travel supposed to be like mundane at this point?
Just take like a commercial flight from fucking
this is his Mars crew, and they're acting like they've never been in space. Whatever. So then he gets in the rocket, flies off. Somewhere on the way, he fights a baboon. I don't know. I wasn't really paying close attention at this point.
Checked out mentally.
Just like they come across like some SOS and they go inside and there's just a crazy baboon who's like just killed everybody, I guess. And they do the thing where he puts in the, like any other movie, you put it in the airlock, you open the airlock so he goes into space, and he explodes. Which is another one of those like, okay, fun fact, you don't explode if you go into space. That's not what happens to you. The closest thing in a movie really is like Guardians of the Galaxy, or even like Last Jedi, where like when Leia got sucked into space. Because what happens is there's no pressure, so the moisture on the outside of your skin basically just, there's no pressure keeping it in a liquid state, so it just kind of dissipates real fast.
Yep.
And because it dissipates, it takes heat with it. So the outside you just kind of ices. Yeah. You don't freeze.
Right.
In fact, it takes a really long time to freeze to death in space because you're not touching anything, nothing's absorbing the heat, so you have to radiate. Because everyone is kind of slightly radioactive. All living things are to a degree. You have like an infrared, so there's radiation coming out of you. So it would take like forever. So whatever. The point is you don't explode.
Right.
So the baboon explodes. The one dude gets mauled, which I didn't know. And then you don't see him the rest of the movie, which doesn't make any sense. Gets to Mars. The Tulip from Preacher's there. She's like, I run this base. And then she basically tries to explain to her that like, oh, Tommy Lee Jones killed his crew. It's a big secret. They don't want to tell you. Who gives a shit? And she's like, my parents, like, they were on the mission. They got killed by your dad. I hate your dad. But you should sneak onto the ship, go into Neptune. Because they kick him off after he calls his dad. And they're just like, all right, you're out. You got to go. Which is funny because after the baboon attack, he records like a message about like his mental state, and he starts talking about how his dad had like baboon rage and how he has baboon rage, and I'm like, why the fuck would you tell your job you have baboon rage, and then be surprised?
Fun fact.
Yeah, just a little insider tip.
When triggered, I do go into full baboon rage mode.
He's just talking about his baboon rage, which we kept saying the whole movie. We're like, fucking.
Yeah, what is baboon rage? Like, it's like a common thing.
He has baboon rage, dude. His dad left him because he had baboon rage. He inherited baboon rage. He tries.
I am this close.
They make a big point.
Full on baboon rage. Oh, that's great.
They make this point early in the movie to say that his heartbeat's never gone above like 80 beats per minute, which is like. You'd think that would come back in the movie, but it never does.
He's just really mellow.
And I'm like, I don't know how you have baboon.
But when he blacks out.
I don't know how you have baboon rage.
Full on baboon.
Yeah, full baboon. So he gets fired, so they tell him that he can't go on that mission. He sneaks on. The chick helps him sneak on. He sneaks on by swimming in like an underwater Mars lake, which is another one of those like, wait, there's lakes under the ground on Mars? That's a big deal. That's worth talking about. That would change space travel by having water there, but they don't care. He just swims. He talks to himself a lot of personal monologuing. He gets on a ship. He sneaks on, and like right as it's going off, as it's flying into space. He gets on. He sneaks in. Everyone on the ship, of course, mad. They're like, "What the fuck you doing here?" And it's the same crew he like flew to Mars with the baboon, and he kind of accidentally kills everybody.
Right,
just,
as one does.
He just like he has a suit on, and they're all freaking out, and they're shooting at him. Which the whole time we're just like, why would you shoot anything in space? Like,
yeah.
If you're on a capsule, you don't go firing guns. Yeah. You might pop a hole or a wall or whatever, and then have one of those stupid movie tropes where you get sucked through a hole.
Yep.
So he accidentally kills everybody. He calls his job and basically was like, I accidentally killed everybody. I'm going to eject their bodies into space so there's no evidence to exonerate me that it's an accident. And he's like, I'm going to finish the mission. I'm going to go nuke my dad. So, and then another thing that made no sense is they explained that it took him, like, his dad, like 10 years or some shit to get to Neptune, and then he's been missing for, like, 16 years. So he's been gone for, like, 30 years. I guess Brad Pitt got there in like a couple weeks. I don't know. It wasn't a big deal. And then they try to show you, they do this really poor job of trying to give you the idea of like scale and isolation, and they don't do a good job of any of that. And I mean, Brad Pitt does good. Like, he does well. He's a good actor. Right. Because the movie's so somber, he has to like act with like very little emotional in the scenes, especially when you keep talking about how calm he is. Like, he has to hide the baboon rage, so you see the baboon rage like in his eyes, and you're like, I know this dude wants to baboon out. I could tell. You know, he's so mad at his dad for being a dick. Gets to Neptune, and he gets in there, and everyone's dead, of course. They've been dead for like years. And then he finds his dad. And basically he has this whole thing where his dad's basically like, I don't care about you, I don't care about your mom, I don't care about the Earth. That's why I came out here to find aliens, because if I find aliens, we'll solve Earth's problems. And then you find out that he killed everybody because not only did they not find aliens, which so you're like, maybe aliens will pop up in this movie. No. Not only did they not find aliens, they found evidence that there is no aliens.
Nice.
Like, that there is no aliens anywhere, that there's no fucking life anywhere in the universe, and they have evidence for it. And so his dad like killed everybody because everyone's like, well, there's no aliens, pissed. Let's go home. Yeah. You know? So he's like, nah, God.
He went baboon.
Yeah, he does baboon rage. He killed everybody. He babooned out. And then Brad Pitt puts the nuke down, does the classic, like, I'm gonna turn the nuke on.
Does he walk away slowly as it explodes?
No, they float. There's a lot of floating in the movie. I gotta give him credit because most movies will like cheap out from like zero gravity scenes because it's really expensive, but they didn't. So he gets his dad. He's like, "Come on, Dad, we gotta go." And then they kind of have like these moments, but they're really shitty because the writing is really bad. And then like they go out and then in order to get in, like Brad Pitt lost his like little car taxi from the other ship that he kind of came in on. So they're like, "We'll just have to jump to it." And his dad kind of like uses that opportunity to just kind of say fuck off and flies into space. Just like, he's like, let me go, son, which is like, okay, he wants to die, I get it, you know. And then as he's floating away, he's like, ah! And you're like, why are you screaming? First of all, nothing was happening to him. It's gonna take him years to float out.
Noble death.
Yeah, that was stupid. So his dad lets him get like suited up too, like he suits him up and everything, and then kills himself. Whatever. So his dad kills himself. Brad Pitt's like sad, and you know, God. The baboon rage is.
This movie sounds hilarious.
Dude, it's so bad. It's 2.5 hours, so you're just watching like, fucking Christ.
Jesus.
And he's like, all right. He loses hope for a minute, and then you see this light, and then for a minute you think it's going to be aliens or something cool, like the aliens found him, right? And they explain to him, and there's a big like interstellar moment at the end. No, it's just the sun, whatever. And then he goes behind him, back onto the ship that his dad was on, the Neptune ship, and there's like a little rotating radar thing, and uses it to fling himself into space, and he steals a little piece of metal hull, and he uses a shield to go through like the rings of Neptune. Because fun fact, all the gas planets have rings, and he just flies through the rings. He uses it as a shield to get through it, and he gets to the other side, and he gets to a ship. So right there, I'm like, A, he wasn't going fast enough to do it in any kind of reasonable amount of time. And space is big, so I would imagine it would take at least like a day or two to float that far.
Right.
B, basic physics, if you hit something in space, equal and opposite reaction, you're going to bounce off of it. Unless you're going really fast.
Right.
So basically, if you're flying through like a belt, like an asteroid belt, and you got a shield,
you got to be moving.
Every time something hits you, you're going to slow.
Right.
So he goes right through it like he's falling, which he's not. So that doesn't make any sense. He gets to a ship, did that classic, like, there's not enough fuel to get home. What do I do? And he's like, I'll ride the nuke home. And you're just like, is that... They're still doing that in movies, like, where people ride nukes, like Independence Day or any other movie where they ride the explosion out. So the nuke goes off. He rides it. He lives. He doesn't die. He realizes that... just like his dad, he was disconnecting from everybody. And, oh, yeah, Liv Tyler is in it. She's, like, his wife back home, but they barely show her. They just kind of make it seem like he's a dick to her. And then he's like, I'm going to go home and not be a dick to Liv Tyler because, you know, her dad's famous, and she's still pretty good looking. So he's on the ship, goes back to Earth. Like, he falls asleep after the nuke and then wakes up landing on Earth because he has, like, one of those SpaceX planes, like ships that kind of just
drives itself
lands vertically.
Yeah.
And then he has a little bit of a beard, which was definitely CG. Because we were sitting there, like, looking at it, we're like, I think that's fucking CG, that beard. Like, it wasn't even, like, a lot of beard, but they CG'd it. Because I guess they were probably like, well, we should probably show a passage of time.
But wouldn't prosthetics be easier, like a fake beard?
Dude, it was such an afterthought. It doesn't even make any sense. How long would it take to float from Neptune to Earth?
3 hours, maybe.
It's what it made it seem like. Like, maybe 2 weeks.
Well, 2.5 hours.
Like a beard,
you know, within that time frame.
Which is funny because they show him in the same spacesuit, like, beginning and end of that. So you're like, was he just sitting the entire fucking
just
time?
shitting on himself, yeah.
And then he gets home. He brought, like, the data back with him anyway. The data that Tom Lee Jones carried, or, like, collected.
Yep.
And he's like, you know, my dad was looking for what wasn't there instead of looking
what's right in front of him.
What was there.
Yeah.
And that's that space is pretty. And all the shots they're showing from the recorder are just pictures of moons from the solar system. Like, I'm a nerd, so, like, when it comes to space stuff, I love astronomy. So I'm looking at them like Ganymede, Callisto, Io. I was like, I know all these planets. These aren't moons. Like, These aren't planets from the deep space. Like, they could have CG'd up some, like, concept art.
Right.
Just moons from our solar system. It's like, who gives a shit? And then the movie's over, and you're just like, what was that? Like such a bad attempt to do, like, this, like, I don't want to be like my dad. Like, I'm ending up like my dad. I don't want to be my dad, with all these slow talking scenes, you know, like. But there was just too much shit that bothered me. Like, when he's on Mars, he's, like, going through, like, what looked like a subway station. He even had, like, the same writing of, like, a New York City subway station. And there was, like, a German Shepherd wandering by, like it's a ghost town. And I'm like, where the fuck did a German Shepherd, like, how did it get on Mars? You don't just accidentally get a German Shepherd on Mars. When you go into space, every pound is accounted for. You can't accidentally transport a German Shepherd, like, 30 million miles to Mars. Like, that's not how that fucking works. Like, none of it made any sense. Like, there's no oversight. It's just, like, I don't know. And then it's like, you can tell it's one of those movies where the writer is like, that's not the point, you know? The point is...
You're focusing on the wrong part here.
The emotions. Yeah. But I'm like, you don't even have that much of this. I've seen Twilight Zone or Outer Limits episodes that do this story in 45 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Or Love, Death, Robots, which is an amazing anthology series on Netflix.
Yep.
Most of it's animated. But did you watch that?
I never got around to it.
You should definitely watch it. There's one episode where a dude... It's like a really beautiful CG, like movie... Not even like movie, but like video game, like cutscene quality animation where this guy... basically goes on a ship, and then they're supposed to go out far in the universe, and then it goes off course, and he wakes up, and his ex-girlfriend's there, and then it kind of snowballs into, like, kind of like a horror situation, because, like, his friend's like, you can't trust this. I don't want to give that away, because that's worth a watch. It's like 20 minutes. So, and then what's nice about it, they're all like 8 to 20 minute long on Love, Death, Robots.
Right.
But they're like, they do that kind of thing.
And they do it well.
In this in 20 minutes instead of a fucking 2 hour
2.5 hour movie about isolation and father issues.
Yeah, and it's funny because I looked it up on Rotten.
Oh yeah, what did they give it?
Well, it's funny that it had an 84% on the thermometer, like the review score. It was fresh. People going like some of his best acting and stuff, and I'm like, well, the acting was good. No one acted badly or poorly in this movie, but it definitely was a shitty movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
story-wise, it sounds a little
The
nuts.
audience score was 40%. The audience
there you
score
go.
was a little less entertained.
Critics got the deeper meaning behind it, and the real fans didn't like it.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like how any movie that's supposedly deep comes out, or people are
Right.
just like,
You just didn't get it.
deep, and I'm like, there's a lot of these movies. It's like I was joking with someone recently where they were saying like, someone I was talking to was like, I haven't seen The Joker yet, but someone told me it's really dark. You gotta be ready for dark. I'm like, if you've never seen a dark movie, I was like, you say that kind of thing for Requiem for a Dream, like,
right?
Like you want to see, you want to see a movie like Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream. Be prepared for a depressing fucking movie,
right? It's not something you want. It has a lot of replay.
Or The
value.
Wrestler or something like that, you know. But that movie, I'm like, that's good, but it's
that was over.
It's that kind of thing. Like people I know that are like, Interstellar is the best sci-fi movie. I'm like, yeah, if you've never seen a sci-fi fucking movie. But I mean, there's good stuff. It looks good. Christopher Nolan's a good director. But,
no, it's fun.
But I give this movie a 2 out of 5, or 4.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 40-something%. All right.
Or 5 Pez.
Just for the Baboon Rage, I might give it a whirl one night. Might fire it up.
I don't know what
Baboon
the Baboon
Rage sounds amazing.
About. Yeah, and
just saying that over and over again is just fucking.
We were just saying
amazing.
it the whole time after the movie. We're like, that fucking
the fact that they
Rage.
coined it though, that he's like, I have Baboon Rage.
Okay, to be fair, he did say he had Baboon Rage.
Oh, damn it!
But he did say, I saw the rage in the baboon's eyes, the same rage that my father had, the same rage that I have, and I'm like, Baboon Rage. So I mean, I added the two words together, but yeah. Basically.
Listen, no, that's the plot line now. The poster should just say Baboon Rage.
Yeah, good old Baboon Rage. So
speaking of movies of 2019,
so that goes on my. It doesn't even make it on my.
Do not watch.
List.
Yeah.
So basically, me and Zach here, we kind of like went over things real quick. We're coming to the end of the year. We want to do a quick top 5
wrap up.
2019. So it's fun because you get to look at a list because unlike, an award show, we don't forget the movies that came out in January. So
that's right.
Because they ever watch it and they're like, they always give it the movies that came out in the last 6 months.
Oh yeah, the guy who dropped in October is just sweeping up the awards. So we'll preface this by saying this isn't like the Oscars where it's like all critically. This is just
our word is law.
Our preference. This is the gospel.
If you disagree with us, you're obviously wrong and need to reevaluate your opinion.
Your opinion is wrong. You wanna start us off?
Well,
top 5 2019.
Top 5. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna do bottom 5 real quick. I do have a bottom 5, and this is why
that's impressive.
I want to do this real quick because I had way more candidates for a bottom 5.
It was a rough year
than I did
cinema.
for a top 5 because I went through the list.
Right.
I went through the movies, so I do this thing like, oh, I saw that one. Like I got a list of movies I didn't see. Like I didn't see Aeronauts is a recent movie about like the travel around the world in hot air balloons. I wanted to see
1917 supposed to be good. There's a bunch of
1917. IP Man 4 is not out yet. Yeah. New Star Wars isn't out yet. I couldn't see Jay and Silent Bob the reboot because it wasn't really out in our area. I didn't see New Rambo. I didn't even see Toy Story 4. I kind of fucked on that one.
Ooh, yeah, that was good.
But so for my bottom, I kind of went with more of a list of like these are the movies that disappointed me.
Let me down.
Not just like because they're shitty movies. Like like I could put like a. There's like Godzilla King of Monsters. Like, this was kind of shitty. It wasn't as good as I wanted to be. But it wasn't as disappointing as, let's say, like Glass, which came out earlier this year. With
Let Us Down
the M. Night Shyamalan sequel to and Accumulation, Avengers style.
Did not live up to the hype.
Of the classic Splice.
Yes. Split and Unbreakable. Yeah. So go ahead. Here's with the bottom 5 then.
So
it should be interesting.
So bottom 5, I got Glass.
Yep.
I went with Hellboy. I was really disappointed in that. I was looking forward to that. Terminator: Dark Fate.
That really let you down.
I could eventually, when I figure out what this YouTube is, I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna tube the YouTube, and I want to YouTube that.
You're gonna rant.
You're gonna make a video of that. Dark Phoenix, which is kind of like a thing where I'm like, I don't know if this even should be on the list because no one thought it was gonna be good.
Yeah, the bar was low.
For the final X-Men movie, I was definitely like...
Yeah, shitty's still shitty.
Yeah, it's still shitty. Even though that one was more boring. Like, its crime was being boring. But kind of like a controversial one on my list for the bottom 5, because I named other 4, was Us.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting, because I have that on my top.
On the top, huh?
I do.
Now, this isn't because the movie's bad anyway,
right?
Other than I could not get over the third act of that movie.
I guess we'll get into it now because it's actually one of the top.
Well, that's the last of my list, so we can go right into your top 5. So
my top 5, and then we'll finish it off with Us because it sounds like we got something there. But Us is on there. Joker's on there.
Okay.
Midsummer.
That's not mine.
Marriage Story.
Didn't see that.
And like I said, this is just preference. El Camino.
Okay.
Because it was just so fucking great to get that shot of just Jesse Pinkman.
That's another one that's on my list of like, I just didn't see it yet. I'm only human. I don't get to do this full time. So
for sure, there's just too many movies. Marriage Story was amazing. And
which one's that?
That's Adam Driver and ScarJo.
Oh, my wife was just
getting divorced, and it's on Netflix. It was one of those ones like The Irishman where it's like a couple weeks in theater. But wow, Adam Driver should. I think he is nominated, but he should win for Best Actor.
I heard good things. Yeah, my wife.
He's amazing. I'm a big fan of raw argument scenes in movies, and they have one of these knockdown, drag out fights where if you've ever been one and you blacked out on someone, your adrenaline's. You know what I mean? Like you got that fight or flight. And the scene,
like, trembling in the hands.
The scene gave me that. Like I was amped just watching. You know what I mean? Like you're like feeling it. Like so he was so good.
A good realistic writing.
Absolutely. He's losing it. You can tell he's lost it. He's saying things he's going to regret. It's terrible. He punches the wall. But the acting's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that next week.
Really good. Really good.
My wife's been bothering me.
But on it also was Us, which you have on your bottom. I had that on my list on the top 5.
My top 5 for the year, I have to put Endgame on there because it was just... Even though I didn't think it was as good as Infinity War.
Right. Which is why I left it off.
Plot, my thing was like I just didn't have that movies I liked this year. It
was a weak year.
But anyways, it's Endgame.
Yep.
It's worth the mention. Tony Stark's death still brings it home for me. So I got Endgame. I have Spider-Man on there too. I was a big fan. I thought it was definitely a better Spider-Man story than the one before that. Now again, I don't want to put like only comic book movies on this list. It's just more of like I just didn't see that many movies that impressed me this year.
No, it was a rough year.
And I did like the new Spider-Man movie. Brightburn, I thought was a nice.
That was a good movie.
Like a nice shining example of simple and straightforward storytelling.
A fun movie.
A fun evil Superman story, which is always entertaining when it's done right. Midsommar is also on my list.
Good movie.
Weird artsy movie. Yeah. It was what I kind of wanted in the movie. I was pretty satisfied with that. Jojo Rabbit is on my list.
I was gonna say, I figured JoJo would be there. I haven't seen it, but from everything I hear.
Oh, you didn't go see that with us?
No.
That was just it was a solid, good coming of age story on a funny. Even though the backdrop isn't inherently funny, it's like the end of World War II.
Tough subject matter.
But they did a good job with it, kind of showing like this kid's growth through kind of because you got to think about it, the kid was born and basically lived like the kid's supposed to be like 8 or 10. Like most of his life has been under the like Nazi regime, right. So obviously he's very indoctrinated. And then kind of like his mom, and then Sam Rockwell's character. A lot of good movies. Yeah. Scarlett Johansson does a really good job. But yeah, on my bottom list, I had the Us there. And now the reason why that's there, I just couldn't get over. I guess it's been out long enough to where you can spoil it. So spoilers, you haven't seen it. I was really looking forward to this movie, and I could not get behind the explanation on why there was the evil twins, like the evil the doppelgangers of everybody.
With me is obviously that if you look at it a very literal standpoint, it's obviously way out there fucking science fiction, right? But I think, and I know you just said this about you're not focused on that, but I think in this movie it is all about the what it stands for,
the meaning, like the metaphorical.
Right. So I don't think the science behind the doppelgangers was like thought out. Like Jordan Peele's like, well, this is how it exactly done.
That was my problem. Is I'd rather have had no explanation. Like I'd rather have been kind of like
sure, and they like loosely touch on it. And you saw the rabbits and all this stuff.
I'd rather try to, with something like that. I'd rather try to draw my own conclusions. Mm. Because once they introduced like the idea that there was some government program where they were going to make duplicates because the duplicates allowed them to control people on the surface, so it was like this mirror world. But the point is, now you're telling me it's a literal thing created by people. So now all I'm sitting there thinking about is how that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
And then they end with the Hands of America thing.
Yes.
And I couldn't get past the Hands of America thing. It was hard for me.
Too much on the nose with that.
It was too it felt tacked on, and I know they kind of pepper it throughout the movie, but from like a metaphorical, like symbolic standpoint, I thought it was a little too much.
Right.
And in the beginning of the movie, when she first sees the doppelganger, it's like she says like when you were getting soft things for Christmas, I was getting broken glass or whatever, and I'm like, just keep it like that. Let it be like a Silent Hill.
Right.
Alternate world, and they're breaking free, and then you can keep the scissors, you can keep the rabbits, you can even keep the underground tunnels. I never explain it,
right?
But once they explained it made it really hard for me to enjoy the rest of the film.
Yeah.
And not that it's a bad movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm saying I personally didn't like that twist. And the other thing too was the final twist where you find out that the chicks got switched, the main character got switched when she was a kid. that seemed useless. It actually made it's stupid. It's just like, what? Because now you're telling me is that the switch is that she's actually the evil one, but then you're like, there isn't an evil one, but then she raised the kids and like had a good life and all this stuff, and then they're trying to twist it on the nose there. It's like, I didn't really care for that.
I think it was a little bit like that nature versus nurture argument. It's just like how you're raised, and it was very much 99% versus the 1% and classism, and
which is fine. So don't add that stupid.
For sure, I think sometimes in this instance, I think what killed it for you was peeking behind the curtain and showing a little too much of the science fiction aspect of it.
Like in the new Rick and Morty episode, you've been watching that?
I'm behind.
There's Morty gets a dragon.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's a part where Jerry gets like a talking cat, and he asks Rick, like, why do I have a talking cat? And he's like, I don't know, it has nothing to do with me. And there's a part where they, like the point of the episode, besides the dragons, like everyone's like, why does this cat talk? And they kind of do this thing at the end where they're like, there's no explanation to make it make sense. Right. The cat's like, I don't know, I'm from space, and then they kind of find out, but you don't find out because they kind of outright jokingly say like, there is no explanation
to why this fucking cat is
that would make it worth it. Right. And I felt like that was like this in the movie where it's like I would have really rather they didn't tell us that,
right,
than to give me an explanation I didn't buy into. Like, because I was a big fan of Get Out. Mm-hmm. Amazing movie. I could talk about that movie forever, how great it was. Because there was no... Because even at the end when you find out, like, oh, it's that surgery and stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, it's mad science stuff. But they don't, go, super
detailed,
deep into it, even, with the... Like, I could buy the MacGuffins and that, but I didn't care for that part. And,
I can see your critique.
It just made me annoyed. Now, again, nothing to take away from the movie, and if you like it, yay, I'm glad you can get past that, because I couldn't, and it bothered me. So
there we go.
Well, do you have I know you don't have a top worst 5.
I don't have a worst 5. I do have my top, probably more than top 5 on TV. It was a good year for TV.
Yeah, we were talking
as bad as the year was for movies, where you had to sit there and nitpick and just try to find 5 good movies.
Yeah, TV shows were a little better. When we're going through the list, there was definitely, you saw a few different shows than I did. Because my top 5 TV shows is Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Batwoman. No, I'm just kidding.
We saw them all team up.
No, I can't do that. No, but my list is pretty similar.
Go ahead.
Umbrella Academy.
Yep.
Really blown away by that. The Boys, The Watchmen, Mandalorian, and Chernobyl.
That's a great list.
Which is kind of fucked that it's like the only non-sci-fi.
Yeah, the non-genre show, but it's fucking great.
It's all like super science and stuff and superhero shit. And Chernobyl's like kind of, even though there were some inconsistencies on how they showed a lot of that, but that was spellbinding. Like we were watching that for a week right after Game of Thrones ended.
No, you were telling me about it after. I think I'm caught up after episode 2, and it was just fucking phenomenal. Just a great fucking show. I think my list is almost exactly the same. I have all those shows on there. Also Barry from HBO.
Mm-hmm. Didn't watch that.
That's a good show. On Netflix, I really liked Umbrella Academy. I also liked Russian Doll. And then on Amazon, I really like Fleabag.
Yeah, I don't even know about that one.
And The Boys is great. I mean, maybe Stranger Things season 3. We talked about it. It wasn't their strongest season, but it's still Stranger Things.
There's nothing wrong with it, but I wouldn't put it in like my top of the year.
But TV is great. I mean, you could go on and on and on. TV is absolutely wonderful.
I definitely had more options with TV than I did with movies. Like movies, I was just like, I don't know. Everything kind of disappointed me. Some movies made me mad. Like, cause I also had like Captain Marvel on the bottom list. I had Lego Movie 2. I had Alita. Where
what? It wasn't so many bad ones. It was just so many ones. Like I'd rather like Midsummer or like even Hereditary before that, or even Us.
Yeah.
I'd rather walk away from a movie and like a couple days later I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It does something. Give me some emotion, even if it's upset. Like, why did this happen? Like, if I walk away from a movie and I literally just forget about it, like it's just gone out of my memory files in my brain, it's like, it's just so mediocre. I mean, that's even worse to me. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what my issue was with like Godzilla and Captain Marvel and Lego Movie 2 and Alita.
A lot of mediocrity.
It's like, this is just meh.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Lego Movie 2, like whatever, it's Legos, but it didn't have that. I thought it was a fine sequel, but it didn't catch me as much as the first one.
Right.
Alita had fine moments, but it's just one of those things like, I don't know if you can adapt this in a way that everyone's going to like. Captain Marvel was just, I don't know. I didn't care for some of the dumb 90s shit they did in it. Like there's a scene where she's talking to Supreme Intelligence and like it's like in her mind and then like heart-shaped boxes.
I was gonna say all of a sudden Nirvana just comes on.
But that song came out after she disappeared. So she wouldn't have ever heard that song, you know? Like,
no, and it's in her mind.
Yeah, and it's in her mind. So dumb shit like that. I mean, I did like when she fought to the...
That's why I was saying maybe like make one back to our early conversation. Wonder Woman in the 90s because it was set in the 90s and like every 90 thing felt shoehorned in. Like, oh shit, like throw fucking Blockbuster in, man. Like throw a Nirvana song in. Remember, this is the 90s, guys. Like,
yeah.
It didn't seem integral to the story or plot at all. It was just like, this is the 90s. Let's throw a couple things in there.
You could, because there's ways. I mean, not that the music was really the issue. It was just kind of like a pretty basic story.
That should have had an amazing soundtrack. The way Guardians of the Galaxy had a fun soundtrack.
Well, because
you could have made a fucking sick 90s soundtrack.
Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't just the hits. You know, like Captain Marvel could have had like Massive Attack or Portishead or
Sneaker Pimps or something.
Yeah.
Just like,
or if you want to go feminine, maybe more. I think there might have been a Alanis Morissette song in there, but
there's so many female-driven 90s.
Yeah, that was like the time, and then to concentrate on like a Salt and Pepper song, or
even the
something.
Cranberries or something, just like some fun
or just find songs that were just slightly off the radar.
Yeah,
to give it more
deep cuts.
But she disappeared in like 1986 or something like that, so really she should have been into.
But it could have been playing in the background. The radio's on when you're in the car. I don't know. They missed opportunity.
Yeah, that was just like a whatever. Yeah. Not to get into it, but
a lot of mediocre movies this year.
Yeah,
basically.
A lot of mediocre.
2019.
Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't, like I said, there's a few movies I didn't see. I'm kind of like disappointed.
Yeah, disclaimer. We gotta see.
I didn't see everything, so can only watch so much. Like I said, I still want to watch new Rambo. But you go through the list, and it is what it is. But we got some new stuff on the 2020 coming up. There's still Star Wars. We're gonna have to do a Star Wars wrap up on which is exciting because it's episode 9, so it's the end of everything of the Skywalker.
JJ bringing it home.
Nuevo.
Yeah.
Nuevo. So that's ending, and that's there's a lot of it's funny because I remember I was telling you I heard rumors that people were walking out of it, but now I'm hearing rumors that people are like standing up and clapping. So
I just heard. I was gonna say I've heard rumors that it's amazing. So
yeah. I don't know. I watched Last Jedi again the other day, and I liked it. Like I enjoyed it more. I never hated the movie. I definitely didn't care for Rose and her whole like side plot with like the gambling area or whatever. It was a little too shoehorny, especially when there's a lot going on.
That whole side mission on the gambling planet was ridiculous.
I would have rather seen some other stuff, but yeah, we got Star Wars coming up.
Star
so
Wars.
Have to talk about
Mandalorian's been prepping us for it, and now we get the real thing.
Yeah, and also the last episode of Watchmen Sunday.
Ooh, yes, we'll have to touch on that. We didn't touch on it today, but Watchmen's been great.
No, I borrowed you from that. Yes. I was like, no, we're not talking about that until it's over.
I'm ready.
So we could talk about the entire thing and review all 8 episodes.
I'm like a wrestler, and when they're just waiting to get tagged in, I'm just like itching for you to slap my hand.
Yeah, no, I'm excited because I've been enjoying it, so it's worth a little wait, but we'll see what they got.
Quietly, real quick, Yaya, the guy who plays the actor from Black Manta and Aquaman.
Who?
I think his first name's Yaya. I'm not even gonna butcher his name like that.
Who?
But Black Manta from Aquaman, and he's in Watchmen.
Oh, is he the guy?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's had a fucking year. Aquaman.
You never see his face.
He was in that Black Mirror episode that was crazy.
Oh yeah.
He was in. He's just in everything.
Yeah, no, he did a good.
Big year.
I wouldn't say he did like an amazing job in Watchmen, just because his character is kind of solemn. But I mean,
no, but he's popping up everywhere. He was in Us. He was the dad at the boardwalk fighting. He's in everything.
He's a big dude.
Big year.
I see a lot of him in Watchmen.
A lot of them.
So we'll have that for you guys next week. Crisis is over. We'll look forward to that January 14th. I will look forward to that January 14th. If you have any thoughts, you guys let us know.
Hit us up.
But I think that's going to be it for this week. And we'll hit you guys up next week. I think that's going to be before the Star Wars movie. Maybe we can come back in on Sunday and just do like a Star Wars thing.
Thing.
Maybe we can kind of sneak that in. So, but other than that, that's about it, guys.
See ya.